Well, hello again and welcome to the fourth of these 5 Easter questions. My name's Philip Wells of Calvary Church here in Brighton, and I'm looking at 5 questions to do with Easter which I would love to give the answer to. And the questions were, first of all, what is Christian faith? Easter is a Christian festival. What is Christian faith actually about? Then we looked at the facts of Easter and asked whether they, along with all the other events of Jesus' life, are believable. And then thirdly, we looked at the hope of Easter and asked the question, is it good or is it suspect? And I tried to give an answer to persuade you that Christian faith is really, really good, and the hope of Easter. And this fourth question relates Jesus and faith and all of that, and asks the question, is it necessary? So Jesus and faith, is it necessary? In other words, is it something that can be pressed onto another person as a necessity? You must have faith, or you must become a Christian. Or is it rather a personal choice? And of course it is a personal choice, no doubt about that. Is it a personal choice for which one takes one's own responsibility? And of course, yes, it is. But is it the sort of choice of which you could say all choices are equally valid? Is it at all legitimate for anybody to say, well, that choice is wrong? And if somebody were to try and urge you in terms of Christian faith, would that just be rude and inexplicably rude? So that's the sort of thing that we're going to look at. Jesus and faith, is it necessary? And what sort of choice and decision would it be that somebody was saying is necessary? The forcible conversions, you see them in history and in different religions, will kill you if you don't become a member of our religion. Forcible conversions by the sword. Certainly we're not talking about that sort of necessity. That would be an impersonal choice and a mechanical choice. We're actually talking about a sincere personal decision, an inner decision of heart and soul, much more like the decision you make when you commit to a lifelong personal relationship. So here's my example for us to think about. Some people sitting on the edge of Beachy Head. There's a photograph there from Brighton Argus back in 2018. And those of you who live in the Brighton area, or the Sussex area, will be very familiar with this scenario of the crumbling chalk cliffs around Beachy Head, and visitors who come to visit Beachy Head and mistakenly thinking that the cliffs are safe and secure and they don't have a very long drop, and they go and sit on the edge or lean over the edge or lark around on the edge. And this situation has a number of components. They think they're safe, but as we can see, they're wrong. We can see that they're in mortal danger, actually, very, very dangerous. If the cliff gave way, it would be a huge drop. It would kill you. We can see that from where we are. We can see perhaps the little cracks on the photo. We can see where the cliff has fallen previously. Of course, there's a time thing. The cliff hasn't fallen yet, and maybe the little cracks will take a while to open up, and maybe there'll be little trickles of stones first. So the time hasn't come yet, but it surely will. And of course, the other ingredient in this is you don't have to be on the edge there. There is a place of safety and security, and you only just have to move a few yards back and you'll be safe. So there's the picture of people on the edge at Beachy Head. And how would you see that? Would you see that as a situation in which it's entirely that person's personal choice? You just leave them to it. Would you say all choices are equally valid? You can stay, you can go, makes no difference really. Would you in fact be tempted to call out to that person and shout at them in no uncertain terms, get off the edge of that cliff, it's dangerous? Well, on the cliff edge there is objective danger. It's not imaginary, it's not disputable, there is objective danger. The person on the cliff is not aware of the full situation. Either they can't see it or they don't realise it. There is an intervening time interval. They're okay now, but at some point it'll be too late. And in order to find safety or security, the person must move. There's something that they must do. And if that person were you on the cliff, wouldn't you be glad if somebody called out to you, "Get off the cliff"? What would you think of the person who saw you sitting there and just walked away and left you to it? Wouldn't that be the most callous, uncaring, inhuman thing to do? Well, let's bring this to Jesus and faith, because I think there are some very real parallels. And rightly seen, there is an objective danger. When Jesus died on the cross, which we remember on Good Friday every Easter, we're told that his death had a certain meaning. It wasn't just random, just sad. It had a meaning. Something happened. He was a substitute. You remember the Apostle Paul saying, this is Christian faith, he died for our sins according to the Scriptures. So he died as a substitute for our sins, for us, for the sins that we had committed. Something came to him, and death came to him. And if you think about the scene on the cross, the sky going dark, the temple curtain being torn in two from top to bottom, the earth shaking, something huge and cataclysmic occurred when Jesus died on the cross. And you think of him crying out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" You think of the repellence that Jesus felt in the Garden of Gethsemane when he really agonized over whether he would go through with this or not. He went through something awful, and he bore something awful, and whatever word you want to use, disapproval, wrath, anger, punishment, he bore something awful, and he did that in a substitutionary way. And of course this is the danger, isn't it? He bore that, and if he didn't bear it, if he didn't bear that as a substitute, if that doesn't involve us, then presumably whatever that something was will hit us at some point. There is an objective danger, a danger of going through what Jesus went through. Secondly, in parallel with the cliff edge thing, rightly seen, there is a place of safety. So in Jesus' resurrection from the dead, again, part of the Christian message, he was raised on the third day. God raised him on the third day. When God raised Jesus, God was effectively saying, here he was condemned as a criminal by human beings, but that's not the last word on Jesus. God declared him, as it were, not guilty, absolutely not guilty, and not under danger, but out of danger. And in raising him from death, he raised him out of that whole realm of punishment and death into the realm of approval and safety and vindication and life. And there Jesus is, there he is. He's in the place of approval and security. So there is a place of safety. And rightly understood, there's a time interval. So the people sitting on the cliff edge thought they were perfectly safe, but a time was coming when that would not be the case. Now God enacted his judgment on sin, on sinless Jesus on the cross. He did that, and that is a sort of pre-event, a little bit like the trickling of stones and the little cracks before the big cliff fall comes. And when Jesus died, it was like this last catastrophe, but falling on him first ahead of time. And if judgment fell on Jesus, then it will surely, sooner or later, fall on the rest of us. We can draw that conclusion if we rightly see what happened on the cross. So there is danger, there's a place of safety, there's a time interval, and there is a call in Easter. And as the call to the people on the cliff would be, get away from the cliff edge. So there's a call implied in the events of Easter, which says to everybody who sees them, get away from the danger of the judgment that fell on Jesus falling on you. Get away from that. Get to the place of safety, that Jesus has got to. That's a call, and I'm trying to bring that call in a reasoning and hopefully winsome way. But that's the call of Easter. So that's my look at this question, is it necessary? Yeah, there's a danger to be avoided and a place of safety to go to. It's all involved with Jesus. And when the situation is rightly understood, there's a call that says you must act on this. There's no sensible alternative but to act on this call. Well, thank you for your attention. Question 5 is still to come. Jesus, faith and Easter, how does it all work? And follow the playlist for the next in the series, or look back on the previous ones in the series, and feel free to tune in to our online services on this channel. So I'll say goodbye. Thanks for your attention. Bye-bye just now. Bye.